this week's vlog, and I'm ditching the numbers, we no longer have numbers for vlogs, we just have topics. And this topic is the bit of relationship advice that I learned in 2020. Yes, even relationship experts and sexologists keep learning all the time. And this one obviously was because we were in this pandemic, people were really struggling in their relationships, and many people around me were even splitting up. It is a fact of life, it happens, and there's no need to feel guilty or shame about that, but it's always interesting when I think people split up, because often people around them will start to ask that question, or well, what happened? And I think within that there's a real curiosity that they want to take into their own lives, because they also want to learn from what happened in someone else's relationship that is ending. Maybe to safeguard their own, or maybe just to kind of check in for that level of comparison. Now you have to be very careful when you're doing this, because everyone's relationships are very different, but when I was continually trying to find out, or just even really be a sounding board for a lot of these friends, I wasn't even trying to find anything out, I was just helping them out, but I saw this common theme. And and sorry for the guys out there, but this more relates to women. It really was about women not having a voice in a relationship. I really do feel like we encourage women to be the nurturers, which is great. Okay, I'm a nurturer, I looking after people. If I look after you, you probably enjoy the fact that I'm a nurturer. But also demure and pleasing. We don't ever see women as being aggressive and strong as appealing. And that is something that we're fighting against, but especially I think if you're kind of my generation, 5 years give or take, it's still something that we really feel this pressure to do. So for a lot of these situations, what I saw was, things going on and women feeling like they were talking about it but not really being firm about it, because they'd been taught that they shouldn't be firm. And after years and years of potentially complaining about things or wanting things to change, then they get to this point where they crack. And they get so sick of not being listened to and not feeling like they have a voice in a relationship that everything just kind of explodes. So it was really interesting having a look at that scenario play out time and time again. And when I look back to my clinical work as a family mediator, I saw a similar theme as well happen with some relationships. So that became the golden bit of advice for relationships, especially for women. And it applies to men as well, because there are a lot of men out there who don't feel like they have a voice in a relationship. And for anybody else, it's something that can happen, because I feel like when we get into a relationship, we want to keep the peace. We don't always want to show our worst sides, maybe, but we want to keep the peace, and we want things to go along nicely, and we want everything to be happy. And so therefore when something comes up or something niggles at us, we kind of think, oh, it's okay, I'll deal with it later, or we kind of deal with it in a real soft kind of manner. But eventually, if you get into that habit of being that way, and I understand it and I've been there before, at some point you might not feel like you have a strong enough voice to be able to express your needs, wants, and desires. And in a relationship, it's so important that both people are able to express their needs, wants, and desires, whether it's in the bedroom or outside of the bedroom. So you might get to this point where it's this extreme frustration because you feel like you're not being listened to, you're not being heard, you don't have this voice, but you've got to question, did you ever in the first place? Did you ever stand up for yourself? I know it's kind of funny to say in a relationship you need to stand up for yourself, but you do. Everybody does, because we can kind of take the easy road and lay back and think, oh, it'll all work out, and oh, I just can't be bothered to say that, or I can't be bothered to have an argument. But if we are not having these conversations, if we're not sticking up for ourselves, if we're not saying, hey, that wasn't really nice what you did there, it really hurt my feelings, or there's this pattern that I see that we're in a relationship, we really need to start changing things, or could you help me around the house more? If we don't start saying those things, we get to a point where this resentment grows and this frustration grows, and we can just explode, and often then it's too late and there's no turning back. So that became my golden bit of relationship advice from 2020, is make sure you have a voice in a relationship. Now, a little warning with that. It doesn't mean that you have to be aggressive. It doesn't mean that you have to be mean. If you have to be firm, that's great. But when I say find your voice, find a way to be able to speak up for what you want, need, and desire. It doesn't mean that you need to pull your partner down or get angry at them or even start causing arguments, although it can happen. But it's really about getting into that practice of being able to say to your partner, you know what you said really hurt me, or you know what, I really need more help here, or this is what I need, this is what I desire, can we work on this? All those kind of statements, because you need to make sure that you are a team and you are working at things as you go along, that you don't get to that point where you're sweeping so much underneath the rug that you just explode and then there's no turning back. So thank you to everybody who did teach me that lesson over 2020 of getting my ears tied up. My heart goes out to everybody that is going through a difficult separation, because we did see quite a lot of that happen in 2020, and I'm sure we will see a lot of that happen in 2021. It's never an easy situation, but it is a journey and it does get better eventually. But just like a relationship, ending a relationship, there is work to do as well. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get all these fantastic vlogs. You never know, there might be some more interesting things along the way. So thank you very much, and make sure that you check out my Instagram page if you're not watching this on Instagram, because there's always a lot of great content on there, and I announce all my giveaways and specials, so make sure that you follow. Okay, bye.